Hello. So tonight's episode of Rise and Vibes is not sponsored. However, if you would like to become a Rise and Vibes sponsor or show partner, please feel free to reach out to me. You can send me a DM, you can send me an email, you can call me, text me, and we can work on what you're looking to do with your business or brand. If you need to see the numbers or the impression that the show generates, feel free to look at my pinned reels on my page. So now that we have that out the way, tonight's guest is G2K Racing. If you guys are not following him, you make sure you go do that before the end of the show tonight. If you're not following him, obviously you've been under a rock, but I seen him join, so I'll go ahead and get him on. While we wait for him to join, though, make sure that you go click. You can catch up on all the past episodes of Rise and Vibes. We've been doing this now for 5 years, over 5 years. September 2nd made 5 years of Rise and Vibes. So, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Listen, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule because you got a lot going on. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down and, as I tell my guests, to let us get all up in your business for a few minutes.
That's fine.
So what I'll do is I'll start off with one of my questions,
All right.
and then I'll get right into the fans' questions. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So tell me how you got started being into cars and racing.
Well, as a kid, I used to have a passion for like lowriders. I was watching a lot of the California scene. Grew up listening to the Chronic and NWA and all that stuff. So I was really into like the 6'4" Impalas and stuff like that. So my grandfather, he had a bunch of old cars, so he would go out and wrench on them, and then I would just sometimes go out there and just join him and wrench myself, with him. So he taught me how to change a water pump, how to fixing all, like do little stuff here and there. And then from there, it just took off. I started like trying to paint and was just involved with cars, at an early age. I think I was like 10 years old when I started fooling around with cars. I've owned over 200 cars in my lifetime.
So
A lot of wheeling
car
and
hoarder.
dealing. Yeah, big time. I'm I'm like one of those guys that I just can't say no to cars, and if I find a good deal, I try to grab it. And like I said, growing up, if you ever seen a guy who has like a yard full of cars, well, that was me. I just had them like in the backyard, and as long as I had like a fence in front, then I guess I was okay. But over the years, I guess I've gotten tired. It's not I don't bounce back as fast as I was, in my teens and my early 20s. Now it takes a little more time for me to like warm up to it. So I try to take the road less travel now, or more travel. I don't know how that would work out. I'm kind of like confused right now. So bear with me. But yeah, that's basically that's basically how I got it started. And then the racing just came from like street racing. That's all I've ever done. Whether it was with Mustangs or imports, it's always been like a passion of mine since I was a kid, to go out there and race. So still street race to this day, but more now in like
Allegedly.
yeah,
Allegedly.
allegedly. Well, now more in a controlled environment is
Okay.
what I try to stick to, with a little bit more safety. But it's still like the street. We call it no prep
Right.
racing, and
Right.
that's what I'm heavy into that scene as of late. That's where like my YouTube channel and all of that it just surrounds. I travel everywhere and film races and race myself. So it's basically how it all got started for me.
Well, that's a good segue because let's talk about the North versus South. It's no prep. What's going on with that?
Well, my buddy Mike Corley, he comes from Canada, and he's been coming to our local track, which is Immokalee Raceway here down in Immokalee, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically he's bringing whoever. It's technically whoever's like north of Florida or Georgia and all those areas against us down here in the South who want to like compete. So technically he's from Canada. So, but he's not really representing the North. He's definitely representing us in the South. But it's a no prep event. We've had it 3 years straight. We usually have like four down here, but now our track here is closing. So this is going to be like the last one that we're going to be able to have. So that's where I'm trying to like encourage everybody. And I'm trying to have a donk race out there, and I'm trying to put videos out there for people to try to hop on and just go out there for the experience of it. And I feel like I don't know, I'm getting like zero traction with it. Like I don't know if it's just people are concerned by the fact that it's no prep and there's no glue on the track. And but I'm like, hey, if you have a street car, you have some rims on it, why not just take it out there and see what it could do? I mean, the worst case scenario, you just take your foot off the gas and cruise it down there. Nobody's got to be a hero to try to win. But yeah, we got the North versus South. Hopefully, the track owner is trying to find a new spot to like build a new track because we all know that in South Florida there's not that many more tracks anymore, and this is like one of the last ones there. So that's why it's like it's my home track. I got a lot of sentimental value in it. I've tried to put it on the map as much as I could, but now it's one of those things where they're forcefully being forced to shut down the doors, and it's like an older airport, and now the airport is basically taking that land back. So it's kind of like an inconvenience, but I'm trying to do everything I can with the owner to try to find, I think we're trying to find another 100 acres and then build a new track there, which is what we're looking forward to because there's a lot of racers down here, and now we got no place to go other than to like Bradenton or North Florida, like Leadfoot City and stuff like that that just opened up. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's a hell of an event. It's going to be an awesome event. Small tire racing. We got a truck class, a daily driver class. It's we got like about 4 or 5 classes, so I mean, we get a great turnout. We got people coming from Kentucky, Ohio, all over the country to come and race down here in Florida. I always say that at the beginning, like Florida should be the spot, like in January, February,
Right.
where everybody else is snowed in. This should be like the beginning, like the opening, and that's what we've been trying to do. And it's just been growing over the years. Other than the fact that the track is closing, that's the only thing that has us a little, bent out of shape. But I would love to have a no prep donk race. That's what I'm like yearning for. Just to see, we were trying to get at least 8 donks that be willing to just send it on no prep. They're gonna scrape, I think like 300 feet of the track. So it's definitely gonna have no kind of glue, no kind of nothing. But it eventually comes around. But I feel like, I mean, as being an adult and being somebody who races, like, if it gets out of hand or squirrely, just let off and don't gotta be a hero. But I think it'd be fun to show that the community that support of seeing that scene that's apparently looks like it's active, but I mean,
Right.
all I get is crickets. I got 2 donks that actually like reached out to me and said, hey, we're down to come, but we need at least 8 to make a class. I would love to have 16, but that's where we're at with that now.
What's the date?
February 22nd.
I'm putting it in my notes. That's why I'm looking. That's why you see me looking down. Cause
Yeah.
it's funny. I have a lot of, not a lot, maybe a few, maybe 15 guys that I talk to. I live in Atlanta, so
Yeah.
but I'm from Florida,
Yeah.
Jacksonville. So maybe about 15 guys that have told me they would love to take their cars down the track, and a few of them have dumps, but they're not quote unquote racers. You get what I'm saying? So no prep sounds amazing for them. So I'm definitely gonna send this information to those guys because maybe they can make the trip. It's far enough away, February 22nd. That's a good amount of time for them to plan to make the trip. And it's Florida. Who don't want to come to Florida?
That's what I say. And again, I emphasize on the fact, it's going to be at a track. There's going to be, personnel there if something goes bad. But again, like I believe that, the lower horsepower cars would do very well there because it won't take much power. Like if you go on the street right now and you try to let 1,000 horsepower eat on the street, you're just going to spin the tires. You're not going to really go far anywhere. So you basically got to like, it's almost like it's a tuner's race. You have to like baby it to get it down the track, which is good, which you're not sending it, 180 miles an hour down that track, So that's where I feel like, I think if they were to see it and experience it, it'd be something interesting that I believe that then anybody could win. It ain't just limited to like 4 or 5 cars and who has the deepest pockets or who has the biggest motor, because you're not on glue. It basically, the track becomes the equalizer. And then you could have 10 guys out there, and out of the 10, you can't really like signify and say, hey, he's going to win because the track could only take so much. And that's where like, I feel like the no prep racing is more like the blue collar, the guys who don't have those deep pockets to be able to, afford, big old motors and big old suspensions. You just gotta, hey, you got a street car, put it on the track, and I think it's fun for anybody to get that experience. There's something when you line up at the track and you see them lights, and here we have like a flashlight start. So we have the legendary Limpy, which he's the one that flags basically all the street races up in Texas, and he comes down and flags it for us. So it'll be him with a light on his forehead, and then he just bangs the light and you take off. But I think it's so fun that with racing, you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. You're either gonna love to go to the track or you're just not gonna want to go to the track. There is like no in between. But for me, like at that moment when I'm there and for those few seconds, like I'm not thinking of my job. I'm not thinking of like, what the heck's going on, my bank account. All I'm thinking about is getting down to the finish line. That's it. And for those
Right.
moments, I feel like free. I feel like disconnected. I feel like I can't resolve nobody's issue at that moment. If my wife calls, hey, I can't answer, hon. I'm on a pass. Like you can't put out no fires at that moment. Like
Right.
it's just you, the steering wheel, your car, and the track. And I think for every car owner, even if it's like I said, sometimes I take my daily out there. I've seen people in minivans go out there. Like it just feels good to do it, even if it's just one time. And then you say, well, you know what? I did it, and I never want to do it again. But at least you did it. So I'm all for it. I mean, this old pile of junk that I got back here, the name Junkyard Donk, that's what it is. It's a junkyard car that I saved from the junkyard, before it got like demolished and crushed. So to me, any upgrade I do to it is a blessing. So anybody who criticizes me for what I'm doing to it, hey, any little, even if it's a nut and bolt, even if it's a reused nut and bolt, it's still better than what it has right now. So to me, it's like I'm upgrading it as I go and having so much fun with it.
So you're gonna be in the dunk race?
I want to. I got to. It's almost like I got to because if I don't fill it up, if we're short one donk, I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it. I'll let somebody else drive it. I mean, what when I say that this back here is junk, it's junk. Like that's why I think that the whole persona of it has gotten so much traction and it's made like a little cult-like following is because I don't put anything that doesn't make any kind of sense. If back in the days I used to run with air shocks and they're $100, that's what I'm gonna put. I put air shocks. So I don't got $3,000 to put some fancy suspension back there. So hey, it's air shocks. And then when people see me go down the track in it, that's when they're like what the hell did he just do? How the hell did he just do that? And again, it's just like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my mentality, and I try to stick to my guns. So yeah, I mean, I, I would want to. I would want to race. I mean, it's in my nature. But if they don't want me to race, I won't race. I just want to like show the North versus South that the donk community is alive and well, and everybody's there like representing, and it feels good to see them. And it's almost like an exhibition to see these land yachts go down that track. I mean, everybody's used to Mustang, Camaros, Challengers, Chargers, but to see one of these things go down the track, it's impressive. And I think it'd be good for the fans, the crowd. I mean, it'd be an awesome time to make it happen. But if they don't
Not to
want me to
mention
race, I won't race.
they talk so much smack about us with dunks and racing. Like how y'all make those big old cars go so fast, and you know what I'm saying? Now the other thing that I want to touch on, you was talking about how you don't have the money to spend all that money on suspension.
Yeah,
People act like you have to. You don't. You really
exactly,
don't. Like how
exactly.
everybody's like, when you're building a car, you gotta go frame off. If it's not necessary for you to go frame off, you don't have to go frame off. It's a lot of things that people
Of
are doing
course.
just because, like you said, of the name.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking nobody for building their company's brand or business, but I don't have to go. Well, I won't name the company names because they may be sponsors one day
Yeah.
or potential
No.
sponsors, but you don't have to go with this $3,000 suspension. There
Yeah,
are
I've
things
had.
that'll work just as
Of
well.
course, of course. When I tell people like this, when GM built this, just like what they build now. I mean, obviously, this was whatever, 40, 50 years ago, but they studied that to make it function and be on the road for X amount of miles and stuff like that. So you go and you change over to a tubular A-arm. Now you're doing more like looking, and then it's more for looks, to be honest with you. Like a factory A-arm and a tubular A-arm, there's not really doing any kind of like difference for you,
Right.
other than you could point at it and say, hey, like I've done. And that's why the videos that I've done have had like so much success, is because like I look at the GM piston, right? The GM piston, like the brake calipers, is a huge single piston.
Right.
But everyone's one 6 piston, 4 piston, 10 pistons. That single piston stopped me from like 140 miles an hour. It just stopped me dead in my tracks. It didn't overheat, didn't give me no problems, and they're regular stock brakes. Just obviously refreshing. I didn't run the ones from from 75, but
Right.
it's still like refreshing. So I'm like, if it works, like why are you? And like I said, I'm not knocking, because like I said, I've been punished before, and when I've been punished before is that in the comments they've tried to like, but like I'm like, this is just me. If you want to go and spend it, then that's fine. I'm gonna tell you what works. Now, if you want to go and spend it, then be be my guest. But I remember one guy, he told me, he said, you didn't spend the money on the car, but you spend the money on the house. I said, well, to me, that's a priority. I can't. I mean, I could sleep in my car. I ain't gonna lie, and I've slept in my car a lot of times. But everybody has different priorities, and I feel like it has to be a balance, to everything. I can't be like an extreme, just one way or the other. So I feel like there's a balance, and when it comes to this car stuff, there should be a balance, because again, there's always somebody with deeper pockets, just like there's somebody with broke pockets. There's always somebody who has more or less. So at the end of the day, I always ask myself this: what am I chasing? Because whatever that is that I'm chasing, it better be worth my damn time. Because if I'm chasing the applause of men to applaud me at a show, like that's gonna like be for a couple minutes, and then that's gone. And what do I have to show for it? Oh man, I spent X amount of money on something, and now what do I got to show for it? Like, nah. If it's gonna bring me joy and I really enjoy it, then that's what I'm gonna end up doing. And that's how it is even with the cars. Like, I'm gonna buy the rims I want to buy because I want to buy them. But I'm not gonna look to my left or to my right and be like, oh, I gotta get that because that's a standard. Well, who set the standard? That's my whole philosophy. Like, who the hell set the standard?
Right.
Like, who said it has to be this way? It really don't. So I think that when you adopt that mentality that, hey, let me do me, and I'm gonna stay in my own lane, then your stress level's out the door, because you're not impressing anybody. Right. You're just going out there and doing you and being happy in your own skin, and that's it. Like, real quick before you jump to something, because like, if you brought me to this show, I talk like crazy. Like my mom, my wife, everybody will say like, we only put 25 cents in you, but you are going like off the chain. So I use this analogy a lot, right? We go out to eat, and I got 5 boys. Like I ask them when I'm there, I say, hey, you know what, like dad, or buy, like whatever you want to eat, go eat, because you don't know if tomorrow we're gonna be alive or not. So if you want to go and order lobster, then go and order the lobster. I'm not gonna tell you, hey, hold yourself off of the menu. No, order what you want to order, right? So I order what I want to order. But then when my plate comes and their plate comes, then they're looking at my plate, and they're like, oh, that looks good, but you're not looking at your portion. And that's what I try to tell them. I said, focus on the plate that you ordered, because that's enough for you. But we get so confused and so like influenced by everybody around that we lose focus on that portion that we've given. And it's a hell of a portion, because we all have that portion. And if we just learn how to, do something with that portion, then man, we have our hands full. But when they look at me and say, oh, dad, I should have ordered that. Well, then why didn't you order it? I knew what I was ordering. And that's the same thing with this whole car game. Like, I know what I'm out there to, and I'm not there to win trophies. I just want to be part of it. And I want to come out there and just be accepted just like everybody else. That's all my thing. Some people might like it, some people might not. But that's just the way I like think about it. I come with my heart on my sleeve, and I don't try to sugarcoat anything. And if it don't work, I'll tell you right to your face, hey, that's not going to work. But again, people need to experience it for them to come to their own conclusion. So I'm gonna cut it right there because I gotta have that little buzzer that buzzes me and says, "Nah, nah, nah, nah. No more."
My homeboy told me back in the days, men used to build cars for the attention of women. Now they're building cars for the attention of other men. And I was like,
They're doing it to impress mustaches. Is what I've heard that makes me laugh like crazy. Man, you're building that to impress a mustache, and I'm
right,
like, damn, yeah. Because back in the days, look, like back in the days, I remember when people come out of the paint shop, right? And your car could be wavy as heck because it was wavy. They were wavy. They were so wavy it would make you like seasick by looking at it, but nobody was really calling anybody out because everybody had like the same thing. Oh, they were, little. Now it's like, oh, it's got to be laser straight. So what I did is I did a couple body panels on this car back here, and I did them laser straight, like to the point where like my fingers lost their fingerprints. That's how much sanding I did,
right,
and I painted it to the perfection. So I'm gonna hang that body panel so that if I do go somewhere and somebody were to say, "Hey man, like, oh, this junk," I say, "Well, look at that fender, boy. Go look at that fender because when you look at that fender and you see how sharp and crispy that fender is, if I decided to do the whole car like that, it'd be game over. But again, that would probably be like a pissing contest or whatever however they want to call that. And I
right.
don't want to even get into that. But again, like it shouldn't have to be that way because, like you said, like back in the days, like that's how it was. Like back in the days, everybody had, whether it was base coat, clear coat, or candy, nobody was really like chomping at each other and actually like like pushing force against each other. Everybody wanted to have a ride and go out and cruise on a Sunday, go have some fun. Everybody was riding on whatever wheels they wanted to ride. They didn't care if it was Lexani, Dubs, Hammers. It didn't matter. Now it's like Dayton's. Oh, you got to spend it on Dayton's. And when I looked at Dayton's, because I have been out of the game for a minute, I was out doing other things. And when I came back and I remember I texted a guy and I said, "Are you smoking?" Because he put a date in for like 20 grand. And I said, "Man, I remember when I left the game, like datings were like, I mean, they've always been expensive, but they weren't no damn 20 grand." And that thing just like shocked the hell out of me. That's when I knew that there was a problem. Like it had gotten so far out of hand, and I can't really go back and think like where did it all like disappear? Like I maybe took a breather, and now when I like check back into the game, it's like where the hell did it all go? Like it's nuts. So I know I can't keep up with it. That's why I'm driving this junk you see back here, and I'm gonna enjoy it. And it'll probably be like a showstopper wherever I go because it's something to look at. Like it's different, and I don't plan on really like putting too much into it. I have fun, going out there and the kids shaking my hand and talking to me about it and asking me questions and the old people just scratching their head to see how it even runs and works and stuff. So again, bam, 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 bam. So I'll let.
So I'm building an 86 SST top,
Nice.
right? Now I'm at the point where I'm trying to decide rims. So one of my homeboys who has one of the big car pages, I believe, I tell people I don't have a car because I don't have oil pressure, which we know I have a car, but I feel like if I don't have oil pressure, I don't have a car. So I'm not
Oh,
going to really be
wow.
talking all the time and saying it. So he was like, well, people are invested in your bill, so
Yeah.
include them, post about it and stuff like that sometimes. So now I got to pick out rims, right? So I'm making a post maybe once a week with rims from different companies that I have looked at that I think are nice. The last one I said I first explore Armani Forge, then I'm exploring Rucci. I take all these different. Somebody sends me a DM saying you better not go with Rucci's. Why would you do that? Because if I like some of them and
Yeah.
I can get a pretty good deal, that's what I'm going with.
Oh,
I
hell
don't give
yeah.
a
All
damn.
all day.
Right.
All day.
If I
But
let Rucci tell me they're gonna sponsor me right now and give me some free rims, Rucci's it is.
and I'm pretty sure that everybody in the world that will give them some free rims, they're gonna take it. Ain't nobody, even if they take it and then try to like barter them or trade them for something else, but they're gonna take it. Whoever tells you like otherwise is, like I said, that's where I see like the narrow mindedness of things, like you're you, I'm me. Everybody has a different opinion, a different way of thinking. That the cars unite us all. But then who are we here to tell you, hey, you can't pick this wheel or that wheel. If you love it and you like it, and again, I feel like whatever's gonna make you happy and bring you that joy, because that's the one you want, then that's the one you should go and chase, no matter what the outcome is, no matter how hard it would be to get it. If that's what you want, not based on any outside influences, you get the one you want.
Right.
You paint the car the color you want. You get the motor you want. You get the brakes you want. And who's gonna judge you? Who's gonna tell you otherwise? That's where I'm like, I told one guy, I said, unless you come over here and give me $1,000 and tell me, hey, here's so you could buy paint for your car. Hey, you got no say. And a lot of the people who are out there, they call them keyboard warriors. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that don't have anything.
Right.
And their job is it's like misery loves company, right? They're unhappy with themselves, so they want to make everybody else unhappy, and then they're bickering and going back and forth, and they don't really have nothing. So I'm like, why would I listen to somebody who really has nothing? No, I'm not gonna be influenced by that.
Right.
Nor am I gonna be influenced by the person that tells me, hey, this is what you got to get. No,
right.
I'm gonna make my own conclusion as the game evolves.
Right.
So like that again, it goes back to that food. You ordered the food, that's what you ordered. If you go and look at your buddy's food, it might look better, but that doesn't mean necessarily it's healthier or it's that's what they wanted.
Right.
So again, you get what you want, and when you do that, you're happy as heck. I think that it's more about the relationships that you make along the way in this car game.
Exactly.
And the people that you end up like hooking up with and talking to and vibing with. That's what really makes it important. I always say that the cars is the bait, right?
Right.
To get us, look at this conversation.
Right.
The bait is out there. Look, this might be shrimp. This might be a lobster. I don't know what to say, but hey, it attracts. But then I go and I address the other issues that are there when people have like certain concerns and stuff, and I try to like help as much as I can with the knowledge that I've been given, and that's it. The more the merrier. That's why I don't. One guy told me one thing, and it blew my mind. He said like this. He says, "I can never go faster unless I tell you how I'm going fast." So, and I was like, but usually people keep that as a secret. He said, no. Why would I? I want you to go faster because by you going faster, it makes me go faster. And that's where like I said, wow, like that's deep to know that. So whatever secrets I know, I'm gonna reveal them. And that's where a lot of people don't like that. They don't like that I go out there and I try to like help people because again, everybody wants to keep this like within a box and secretive, and that's not what this is about. I mean, I've never been a person with like secrets. I like for it to be transparent and open. And if you need to find something and it's $100, I'm gonna tell you where to go get it for $100. That's it. Like, not gonna do anything different. I'm gonna, save people when I can save them, and when I can, hey, I'm not God. I can solve some problems, but I'm not Jesus to solve them all. So,
that's not the normal because now everybody wants to gatekeep so much stuff, and like I say, like they'll be busy asking me when I'm gonna finish my car. Listen, I still got a whole life to live. Bills still come every month, and I'm not condemning anybody who has help, but I do it on my own.
of course.
So at the end of the day, if the previously mentioned rim company is the one that says, okay, well, we're gonna sponsor her. Yes,
100%.
those gonna be the ones that's gonna be on the car.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Or somebody like your racing company, yourself,
Yeah.
calling me like, hey KP, I got some rims for you. Hey, that's my sponsor. You get what I'm saying? So
of course.
This is the thing with me. I'm always looking to network. I'm always looking to. It's an old proverb. The proverb says, "Many hands make light work." That means all of us can lift a car together.
Yeah.
I can't lift it by myself, but the more hands we have, we can lift this car.
Yeah, of course.
But everybody wants to be so alone and act like they did more than you or they did more than me, bro. Listen. I'm just here to be a vessel. At this point in my life, I'm happy. And the more people that I can make happy, I did my job. So I can check up out of here whenever God sees fit. I did my job.
I
I
always
was here
say
to be a vessel.
100%. I always say there's no first at the cross. That's for sure. So
You better say that.
so like what can we actually do, like that ain't already written for in our life, and we believe it. So I think that we all have a path to go down through that the Lord has already like has for us, and we just got to walk it. And as long as we stay focused on what has been given and our priorities are in order, because I think that that's very important. You got to have
Right.
priorities. Your priority can't be, I'm going to go and do this, and I'm going to go and neglect my home because I need to finish a car, or whatever the case may be. My priorities are in order, and the Lord knows my needs. So when I need something, look, like I'm going to put a video. I hadn't started the car like in 6 months. I was struggling with it. I was like, like just focus on other cars and other stuff that I needed to like get done. And then yesterday I made a video where I was like, I hope he's not mad at me, and then tries to fight me or give me any kind of problems, because I've neglected it for like 6 months. So sure enough, after I ended the video, I went to go and I put new plugs in it. I went to go and fire it up, and it started leaking gas. And I'm like, damn, here we go. So I tried to tighten the fitting. It was through the fuel filter. I'm like, damn, this fuel filter like just now took a dump all of a sudden. I barely used it for it to like go bad. So I learned this year, and I said to myself, you know what? If God works all things together for the good of those who love him, I'm going to start applying that to my life. Not just speaking it with my mouth, but believing it in my heart that it's true. Like, all right, God, like you knew that this was going to happen. So I either could get mad about it, or I could go on Amazon or Jegs or Summit and order a new one.
Right.
And that's what I did. I ordered a new one. It got here. When I took off the fuel filter, my filter itself had corroded and collapsed. That meaning if I wouldn't have seen a leak, which the leak wasn't caused by the filter being damaged, it was caused by like the O-ring, but the filter itself inside had already like disintegrated, like out of nowhere. Like I showed it to a couple of buddies of mine that were like, we've never seen a filter like disintegrate like that. And I said, well, if it wasn't for the leak, I would have never opened up the filter. So again, God said, look,
No
where I could have
telling
been
what
like,
could have happened to you.
where I could have been like, damn, like, and thrown the filter across, this is garbage, frustrated. No,
Right.
if you're building a car, or anybody's out there watching building a car, build it for the joy of it and enjoy that process. And the setbacks are never setbacks. It's almost like a slingshot. God's ready to pull you back to then fire you on the bullseye exactly where he needs to hit it. So
Right.
that's when you begin to apply that, you begin to see the joy of it. Sometimes we're like, hey, that shop is taking so long, but you don't know why that shop took so long. And I mean, and then granted, there is some shops that are like really milking the clock, but for the most part, like there is a purpose of it, because I've seen that. Well, maybe when you go to the other shop, you could have gotten crashed, or your car fell off the tow truck, or whatever the case may be. God knows. So what I try to do is I just say, let your will be done. Whatever you're doing with this car, let your will be done. If you want the race, let your will be done. I'm going to promote it, and I'm going to try to do what I could do on my end. But again, if you want it to happen, it's going to happen. And the people you want to be there are going to be there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. My life's already written. So I got to believe that. And when he gives you something like that, like your car, is for you to enjoy it and embrace the process, because
Right.
those are the gifts that he gives us, and it's
Right.
not gifts to like bring us sorrow, but to bring us joy and live that abundant life. So now I'm preaching.
And well, he too is there's no telling. I used to be the person that get mad, like if the traffic was bad and I had to go a different way. But
Yeah,
no telling what I was being saved from going that other way, right? I
yeah,
might have been saved from a bad car accident. I might have been saved from it's wintertime now and it's deers everywhere. I might have been saved from hitting a
of
deer. I might
course,
have been saved from anything.
of
So
course.
I used to get mad about things that I couldn't control. Now I just be like you said, whatever the will is, let your will be done.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, because like I said, I could relate to the fact that I was like that too. Like it's a daily thing. You got to do it
Right.
daily. Daily, you got to crucify yourself, and daily, it's got to like stop, because you could get yourself like wrapped up into a lot of things. And even with like social media, I've always had to remind myself like where my foundation and my rock is, because it's easy for me to go off the rails and then like set that whole landmine and then blow the whole damn thing up. Like in one word could destroy years of you trying to build something. So I'm just, like I said, I'm having so much fun now by being able to be myself, let people know what I'm doing to my car, and if they want to apply it, like my video should come with a disclaimer. Do it at your own risk or whatever the case may be, because again, this is what I'm doing, and you might go to your buddy, and your buddy says, "Oh, that guy's crazy," but when they see me go down the track with air shocks, with G body springs, with stock suspension, and it went straight A to B. It didn't even spin the tires. It's like it's jaw dropping to see, because you're like, damn, this guy's got no money in this thing. And sometimes I believe that could also be a deterrent as to, if you were to lose to the junkyard donk that tunes his suspension with an air pump, like a bike pump,
Right.
like that's pretty like toxic to see me with a bike pump pumping my air shocks at the track, and then you get gapped but that's not the case. I mean, I don't think it will be, but for the most part, I'm just having so much fun being able to, like I said, that get her done mentality, and marching along. People are like, you're gonna paint the whole car? No, I'm just gonna paint whatever I feel like painting. I don't. When I want to buy a quarter, I'll buy a quarter, but I'm not gonna buy a quarter because anybody told me to buy a quarter. I'm gonna buy a quarter because I'm gonna get tired of looking at it and saying, "Damn, I don't like it," and I'm gonna buy a quarter. But other than that, she's pretty. I love the junkyard dunk. She's got no makeup on. Like now, I put some makeup on. I put some lipstick. She's set now. She's getting set now. Like her front's getting set. But I'm like, I like the natural beauty. Like she's gonna like do her thing. And man, when I'm out there, I'm free. When I'm driving her around, I'm just feeling great. And yeah, you got people giving you thumbs up, and people probably like laughing, but I don't care, because at the end of the day, nobody pays my bills, and
Right.
I built it, and it's bringing me satisfaction and joy. People don't know what I got going on in my life, or people don't know, if I'm stressed or struggling. But when I'm in that car, I got a big old smile from ear to ear. I took my kids, they're like, Dad. Oh, I took my kids, we went into the Walmart parking lot, right? I drove through all the Walmart parking lot. I drove through the gas stations. I drove through like the little stores. When we came back home, the first thing that my kids tell my wife is like, I think Dad thought he was a movie star, because he was just like driving everywhere. But I told my kids, I said, I guarantee you that I'll get at least 10 thumbs up, or like a hey or something. And sure enough, we must have gotten I don't know how many. So they were like, damn, like you were right, Dad. I said, because I need to pass that on to them, and they're not really too much into cars. They'll look at it, they'll ride with me, but it's not like I don't got nobody wrenching with me. So for the most part, they didn't get that gene from me, but I got a bunch of cars, like I said, man. And like I told them, I said, all these cars eventually are gonna be yours. Like each one of you guys, I don't have like 5 cars by accident. I have them because I feel like each of you are gonna have a piece of it once I'm no longer here. And I got a lowrider, I got a box, I got the donk, I got the S10, I got a Corvette, and I got a bunch of project cars. But at the end of the day, like I tell them, I said, like this is something that you could keep, and it could be mine, or you could use it, or you could sell it, or you could Facebook Marketplace it, but at least it's something that I left to you, and it's something tangible,
Right.
that is not just a handshake or a kiss goodbye, like here you go. So I got one that says he loves the box Chevy and stuff like that. So we're tackling it, and some others love the donk, and others love the racing. So just having a good
So,
time. Just having a
so
good
how
time
many you
living life.
got now? Because you said at one point you've had 200. How many you got now?
Well, no, no, now I got about like 8 cars. So I'm
Okay.
I'm very I'm very I'm very like modest right now. But back in the days, I was back in the early like 2000. I probably ended up owning, I want to say, close to like 50 or 60 convertibles, between 71s. I had like 10 71s, 73s, 75s. That's all I would buy. 71, 73, 75s. I used to get them anywhere between like $500 and like $2,000 all around the country. I would bring them down here to Florida, fix them up a bit, and then immediately, like I could tell you stories of just people buying them like right off my hands. Like I would just drive it down the store. How much you want for it? It's not for sale. Here you go. Okay, later. So what I did is I started writing with the title in my glove box. That's it, because I said, you know what? At the end of the day, it might get bought. I got one story where I went to the beach with my wife, South Beach, and we're out there. I had a 71 triple white, white top, white interior. The car was immaculate, and I remember just like pulling up to just like a little. Well, they didn't have traffic lights, but just the traffic was real slow. And I had one guy just come to my window and said, "Hey, how much you want for that?" And I said, man, like, I don't know. I don't even want to sell it, you know. And in those times, like getting 20 grand for a donk was a lot of money. We're talking about like 04, 05. Like that was a lot of money. Like,
Right.
you know, I would never even fathom selling it like that. But that's what the guy told me. I said, yeah, if you bring that, you're done. Within like, I hadn't gone around. I got a guy with a duffel bag going like this. Bam. So we're counting the money on the dash like that and everywhere in the car. My wife's like, "What are we doing? We're taking home." I said, "Babe, we're gonna go to Fat Tuesdays and we're taking a taxi home." And that's exactly what we did. I signed the title, grabbed the thing, we went, had a couple drinks, and then we went right back home. I said, "The hell with it. That's it. I'm done." But in those days, you were able to find them. Now it's like gone. So for the last 10 years, like, or 8 years, like, I just like said, I said, forget it. They just went out of hand, and it just didn't justify it. Like, if I was gonna buy something, I was gonna buy something. You know, people say, well, don't buy a car as an investment, but I've always bought them as an investment where I try to not have too much into it before it's like a negative.
Right.
And maybe that's just because I don't know, maybe my passion for the vehicle in question was not enough. But I would say, you know what, if I'm gonna put it into like a Chevelle, a Nova, a Camaro, 69. By the way, I have a 69 Camaro there, but that was like what I would put, like, if I was going to spend like a bunch of money. So lo and behold, about 2.5 years ago, I'm at a junkyard locally, and I see this thing here, and I got that,
Right.
and I ended up picking it up for $583.
Dang.
So imagine that was like the gift, like God said, because I remember like 6 months before I was telling my wife, I said, man, one day I would love to have a dunk again, but they're just crazy. 40, 30, 40,000 and a bucket for like 10,000, 12,000. Like there's just no way. Like it just doesn't justify it in me to get it. Like, because damn, where did this game go?
Right.
And and then that came along, and it was like the Lord was like, here you go. You've been patient long enough, and I'm bringing you something back like that you couldn't even believe. So I feel like he gave it to me as a gift. And that's why I started throwing the content out on Instagram with it. If you notice, it's not really much on YouTube or on Facebook. It's more on the IG. And it's because I feel like I've grabbed the IG platform to be more me.
Right.
And, you know, the YouTube and the Facebook more like my media company that goes out there and films racing and stuff like that. So I
If you
talk a lot.
have not, if you have not owned your dream car, what is your dream car to own?
64 Impala convertible.
But you got that, right?
No, I don't got that.
What's your lowrider?
Oh, it's a Regal. It's
Okay.
a 87 Regal,
Okay.
a Buick Regal. No, that's been, and let me tell you, like last week, my buddy found one, but I was just like, it was just a little too much on the pricey side, and it was like, and it needed everything done. I mean, like, I look at cars nowadays, and I'm saying, if I'm gonna build like a '64 Impala
Right.
convertible, I'm gonna go like all out with it. And in order for me to be able to go all out with it, I would want to start with something that the bones are like decent, like enough to where like you could build up of this one, like all the sheet metal, everything needed to be taken out, and he was selling it for a great price. He's up in Kentucky. This happened like 2 weeks ago, and then like because my wife will come and say, well, if that's your dream car, then why you have all this other stuff? Like, just buy the dream car, put it in the dream car, and forget about everything else. She's like, the problem with you is that every day you change your dream car. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If I see a good deal, I'm like, oh, that's my dream car. But 64 Impala convertible would be like not even a hard top, because I've had a chance to own, and I've owned a hard top before, but a convertible would be like that's because it goes back to like the Dre Day and the Chronic and nothing
Right.
but a G thing. Like that's where it was at. That's what I looked as a kid, that my eyes lit up, and I had all the lowrider posters up on my room and stuff like that, and it just brought that. Then it went to like 16s and 16s and Dayton's, and then it went to the 20s, and then the 22s, 24, 26, and then it went to the 30s. But now I see everybody's like settled a little bit on the 26s.
Right.
So, but I had 26s with chunky tires with what I want to call like Mickey Mouse rims. They weren't no name brand stuff. I had the fake spinners, and they're not even fake because they were real spinners. They were spinning, but they weren't like dubs. But I had fun with those wheels too. And like I said, nobody came and put money in my pocket and say, hey, go buy the dubs. So hey, if I don't buy the dubs, I gotta buy the flubs or whatever you want to call them right now. But I'm
Not the flubs.
at the end of the day, I never forget. I was driving, and there was a guy. He must have been like at that time. I don't know if they were probably 28s before 30s came out. And I remember I was in a convertible, stock wheels, just like clean, crispy car. And I remember him going down, South Beach, and we used to have like there was car clubs and stuff like that. So everybody would go out to South Beach and cruise, and we would go out to the Grove, and then we would go out to the beach, and everybody would measure himself, but there wasn't like that drama. But I remember this guy came, he had a hardtop. It was like a 72 hardtop, clean car, 28s, candy paint, and he was just music, bam, 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 bam. But when he drove by me, I hit the button on the top and went, nee, 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 nee. And he looked out the window and he said, you know what, bro, you got me on a chokehold, bro, because the fact that you were able to drop that top on me, I don't care if you're on stocks, like, but that was the appreciation at that moment, like that's where like it was the camaraderie was there, but also like the love and the respect was there too. So right. I've always said a clean stock wheels, factory white walls, convertible, original engine. Like you drive that anywhere, and I, man, like that would like turn off the lights on anything else I would see out there. Like that would draw my attention, and that's what I would like want. I always said like they were like virgin, unmolested. That's how I would advertise my car. It's a virgin, unmolested '73 Caprice with 12,000 miles on it. And I remember I used to buy them. I used to call these people up all over the country, and I'd be like, "Hey man, I'm here from a little town in the middle of nowhere here," and I just and I had to like even change my accent because as soon as they seen 305, when like the 786 number came out or the 754, that's what I had because I was able to play around with that. But when they would see 305, forget it. We ain't selling nothing to nobody. You're gonna take this car down there, you're gonna destroy it, you're gonna put it up on big rims, you're gonna hack it all up. No, sir, I'm not. I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida, and there's nothing happening here, sir. I want your car. Okay, here you go.
Not change your voice.
Yeah. He was like, I was like, here's 3,500, done. I was like, damn. Try to do that now. That ain't happening.
No.
They know every single area code in Florida. When they see Florida calling, man, they're like, this guy's gonna chop it up. But in those days, you would see them a dime a dozen, I would never buy hard tops because the convertibles were always around. And I was like, man, like that's crazy to think about it. And now being away from it, now you can't even touch it. Like I put posts of my older cars up online, and I've had a couple guys chime in, hey, I remember buying that car from you, or I bought that car secondhand from somebody else. But I sold cars to baseball players, basketball players, like all kinds of players. even the players you don't want. All kinds of players. Oh, that's a good one. You should cut that snippet. I sell everything to the players, and even the non-players.
So every episode, I post a little snippet the next day, right? That might be the clip right there.
The funny one. That might be the funny one. Oh man.
I wish we could bring back the fun days of the car culture. It's a lot of it is first of all, it's a lot of lipstick on pigs out here because you'll see the car on like social media.
Oh, I haven't heard that one in a while. Lipstick on a pig. Hell yeah.
You'll see the car on social media and you'll see it in real life and you'll be like, it ain't no way that was the car I seen on social media. That is not the same car.
Like a catfish?
Yeah. Like a car catfish. Oh my God.
That's exactly what it is. I'll tell you one story. I went to go see a car like that. The guy put pictures, Rob, beautiful pictures. Everything was like great and gorgeous and stuff like that. And I drove about 17 hours into the middle of nowhere in Indiana to go and get a car. And I remember when I got there, I'm like, so where's the car? And the guy's like, oh, the car's over there in the little barn. And I was like, oh, perfect. Garage kept my butt. When I opened up the thing, the motor was in pieces. The car was rusty. The interior was chewed up, like if it had gotten chewed up by like, I don't know, raccoons and rats. And I'm like, dude, I asked you if the car ran, and he said, yeah, it did. It ran in 92. And I'm like, so when the hell were the pictures taken? All those pictures were taken like in 96. And this is like 2010. I'm like, are you kidding me? You made me come all the way down here for nothing? He's like, well, are you going to take it? I said, hell no, I'm not going to take this. You would have to pay me to take it.
Right.
That's how bad this was. So I know what that is, and that's where I'm saying like nothing's perfect, right? So this is where like in the car game, if you decide to like say, "Hey, look at me, I'm perfect," then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get the magnifying glass, and I'm gonna come out there and look, and that's why it's like a slippery slope. That's why like I have so much fun with this that I could go out there and I could put my boot up on the dash and just like I mean it's not like I'm mocking it. It's more like I'm free to do whatever. That's why I made that post and I said, everybody is afraid to like I don't believe in powder coat. I got undercoat, and that's where like the undercoat like back in the days that's what you had. Like you would go to the auto parts store and buy yourself a couple cans and rattle that joker up and just spray it, and that's it, and you were done. Ain't
Right.
nobody had time to powder coat. I mean, to undercoat, powder coat, and frame off. It didn't exist that way. So people were like, "Well, you got to get with the times." Well, maybe, but I just felt like nobody was doing it, and I feel like it wasn't required. Now, if you want to go ahead and do that, and you feel like that's a necessity, I would ask you why you're doing
Right.
it. Well, my chassis is broken, or it needs it. All right, then I understand. But if you're doing it because that guy's doing it and the other guy's doing it because the standard is to have, 6-piston wheel brakes in the front, because if you don't have wheel brakes, then you're trash. Then let me be trash. You know what I tell those people? And this caught me like a little it didn't catch me like any kind of like problems, but it probably got misunderstood when I came out with this right here, the bottom five. So 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 the bottom five mentality, I started promoting that. A lot of people got offended. They were like, "Oh," and now I'm gonna clear it up here in the air, so like that everybody knows what I meant, why I did what I did. If there's a top, there's got to be a bottom. And my thing with the bottom five was the fact of it being more like I don't even want to say 9 to 5, because I had people say, "Well, I work 9 to 5, and that doesn't mean I'm bottom." I said, but it's more like catered to the guy who doesn't have it, right? And it's more like, okay, I'm gonna do what I can, and that's what I felt like it was staying in my own lane. Like I'm gonna do me, and if the top five is over here, and I respect all those guys, I respect the work that they put into the cars, I respect the movement, but that's just not me. Like me per se with my build, it's not. So that's where I felt like it got misconstrued to where it was like I was trying to be like this antagonist, villain type of thing, and that's not the case. What I meant by what I meant. What I meant was like, I'm just doing me. And if I don't have 300K to put in a car, and I'm not gonna put 300K. That's just me. So if that puts me at the bottom, that's the bottom. And this is the work. So what I meant to say was like, if there's a top donk award, then I want the worst one. And that's what I was trying to get through to them. Like that's what it is. Like I'm not here to challenge nobody. I'm here to do me, and I want to keep my pockets full, and my car, I'm gonna fix it as I go. So when I dropped that, it was like everybody was like, "Ooh, he threw a heater out there." I wasn't doing it to disrespect anybody in any kind of way. That's not my heart. I mean, even you talking to me right now, you know that's not what I wanted to portray. But again, it gets misconstrued unless you go out and you actually like clarify the air and so forth. So yeah,
Right.
bottom five mentality is that I'm the kind of get her done guy. It needs
Right.
brakes. I'm gonna get the brakes that I could get brakes. I'm not gonna go and upgrade any kind of brakes because it's just to me it's not feasible. Now you want to go do it, that's fine. But like I wanted to pull up to that show and pull up with the junkyard dome. Where everybody's there getting their award. I was gonna be like, man, so where's my worst award? Because this gotta be the worst. If y'all on the top, this gotta be the worst. The
Right.
worst of the worst. So that's what I meant by what I meant. And I just like I said, I just let the chips fall where they fell, and whoever wanted to interpret it as a diss, then that wasn't what I was trying to
Right.
that wasn't the point that I was trying to get across at all. I don't, like I said, I respect everybody who wants to spend it. Me, I don't want to spend it, so I'm gonna go and figure it out. And if that means that I gotta not be with the cool kids, then I'll be with the regular kids. I'll be with who I need to be. But I was raised, that way, and I was raised from the bottom. So my mentality is always gonna be at the bottom. My life consists of, and I rarely ever curse, but my life has always consisted of making chicken soup out of chicken.
Not chicken soup. Chicken.
That's all I've done. Making chicken soup out of chicken. So
Right.
so that's how it's been, and that's why this is what represents me, this junkyard dunk. And if it's bottom five, then it's bottom five. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
want no awards.
I always tell people what you eat don't make me. So whatever you would like, and I'm kind of like you. I am not judging nobody who want to go spend
Yeah, of course not.
two, three, $400,000 in a car. Hey, what that song say? The song that back in the day, I don't know who sang the song, but it say, "It's your thing. Do what you want to do."
Yeah.
That's,
It's your thing.
there you go.
Do what you want to
So
do.
that's cool for me,
Yeah.
for you, but for me, I'm not willing to do
Yeah.
that. I'd rather go spend 400, 500,000 on a
Hell
house, or
yeah.
or
All day.
or or or
All
some
day.
residual income, something that's gonna make me residual income. But I'm not judging you if that's what
Yeah,
you want to do.
exactly. And
But
that's
like you said, it's not feasible for me.
that's where it was the yin to the yang that I was trying to establish, which is that, like, if you want to go out there and do it, then by all means do it. I can't. I'm not gonna do it.
Right.
Everybody's jumping off the bridge. I'm not gonna jump off the bridge. I love my life. I'm going somewhere else, and I'm gonna go
Right.
do something with somewhere else because, like, and again, that's why, like, there's different mentalities. Like, you got a person that'll say, okay, I'd rather go and have $400,000 bills, you know, or I want to go and have one $400,000 bill, or I want to go and have a $400,000 house and a $10,000 bill. So it all depends on what it is. That's why I don't judge anybody, because everybody's, like, unique in their own way of thinking. I'm just letting you know when you come and vibe with me, what you're gonna expect.
Right.
I'm not gonna go out there and be that guy. So,
Right.
oh, they said the Isley brothers.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. Yeah, look at him right there. I can't tell it. Junkyard donk. Yep, that's the junkyard donk right there. Look, they said I needed a grill. Well, I don't even have a grill. So right now, I mean, it is what it is. However I go, but
So
like my
let's
buddy
touch a little bit
Forever
on.
Grudger.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's good. It's good. My buddy Forever Grudge. He's got a shirt. He says "We outside," and that's all I want to be. I want to be outside. So I'm
Right.
outside with the dog. Hey, that's all I
I
want to
can't
do is be
get
outside.
outside.
That's
I
it.
can't wait to get outside.
That's it. That's it. That's it. And whatever that looks like when you get outside, then you do so. Because if not, I know there's a lot of guys right now who their builds have been halted just because their focus is not on getting outside. Their focus is on, I want to, like, be like top dog. And unfortunately, when it relies on so many hands, it's harder. You know, right now, like, I do most of the work myself, so it's easier for me to go out there. But you go to these sometimes to anywhere, and everybody's delayed and everybody's behind, and people got to pay bills and stuff like that. So I know a lot of people I tell them, man, just slap a motor. Like, in your case, if your car runs, then go out there and take it out there. Even if it's on stocks, just go and feel it. Get
Right.
that, get that, get that. Like, my biggest goal with this car was to put a motor, transmission, and get it out on the road, because I wanted to feel what makes me, like, fall in love with it, which is the road. Once you step on the throttle and you're driving and you're feeling that power, I needed that, because if not, then everybody's heartless.
Yeah.
So I got a whole garage full of heartless patients here that have no heart. But once you put that heart in it, and that heart is beating and pumping, everything else just falls into place. The rims will come, the paint will come, the music will come. People do it backwards. They don't put the motor first. They go and take it to the shop and gut it and paint it. No, put that damn motor in, and then you tell the guy, you know what, work around the motor. Because let me tell you, if you pull my heart out, right, what's gonna happen to me? I'm done. But you pull my heart in me, hey, fix my liver, fix my kidney, fix my head, fix it all around. But you can't pull the heart out. The moment you pull the heart out of your car, you kill the car. And that's why
Right.
it's so hard for people then to get back in the funk. And then what they end up doing is selling it, getting rid of it, and then that's it. There's no more joy.
Right.
You need that heart, because you know why you need that heart? Because you could go to that shop and tell that guy, I'm out of here. Put it in reverse and peel out of there. The interior guy's taking too long. Put it in reverse and peel out of there. But if you got to call the tow truck guy and, oh, you got to move it around, let me tell you something.
What do you say? Put it in reverse, Terry.
Yeah. word of advice, like if I gotta be in a shop that I gotta push cars, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God. Now you bring me a car that's running and driving, man, I'll mask that up with tape and wrap it and make it all beautiful, but that I could go like this and crank it up and go up. But that pushing, ooh, I'm surprised that a lot of these like shop owners, they ain't like really buff and build, because from all that pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling and pushing, I mean, man, like forget it, forget it, forget it. So.
Well, that's all I
Whew.
got. What else you got for us before we get out of here?
Well, I just appreciate you, because to like go out on a limb for a stranger and invite me here, without knowing anything about me, knowing that this guy could probably come out here and go like insane in the membrane and just like, but the fact that like I said, I briefly looked through through your page and seen the love and dedication, and all I could tell you is just continue pushing, because that's what I feel like God wants to like to remind you of. Just continue pushing, because you've already put in all the hard work, and sometimes it's when we're the closest to really like a breakthrough, is when like everything wants to fall on us to like just discourage and just like not continue pushing. So let tonight be one of those nights that encourages you, to continue bringing on people, and continue doing what the gift that God has given you. And I hope one day to see your car and see us at a car show, and having some good times, because this is what it's all about. I mean, we only got one life to live, and while we're gonna live it, let's live it, with stuff that is gonna bring you joy. So I appreciate you for having me on here. I mean, to me, this is like overwhelming. I don't get too many invites, so the fact that you reached out, I gotta believe that it's God sent. And at first I was like, man, I don't know if I could come out here, or what am I gonna say, what I'm gonna do. But God says, open your mouth and He shall fill it, and that's what He's doing with you as well. The whole interaction that we've had, it's been awesome, and like total strangers, but yet we have something in common that we're vibing with. So you couldn't
You
have
know,
picked a better name for your page, and just the whole setup. So
I appreciate
I'm
that.
just happy. I'm
I
just happy.
appreciate that. I'm gonna tell you this. I do my research when I ask people to come on.
Yeah.
I do research, and the one thing I try to tell people about coming on Rise and Vibes, because um, I, I don't care if you have one follower or 1 million followers. If you're in the car world and you do something interesting and people think it's interesting and I think it's interesting, you have a place to come on this show. Now, some of the guys and ladies back out because they're like, oh, I'm nervous. But my whole goal is to always make you guys feel, and ladies, feel at home.
Yeah.
So at no time did you feel like, dang, it just flowed well, and that's my goal. I want to be. People call me the Oprah of the car culture, and
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with them. When when
Right.
when you walk in the gift that God has given you, it becomes excellence to the Lord. So the fact that He's giving you this platform and you're using it, the right way, that speaks volume. And I believe that He's going to continue blessing you and opening even more doors. So that's, like I said, I'm very uh, excited that we had this conversation. And like I said, to me, it's been as normal as breathing. The way we've been able to like vibe with each other. So it's pretty amazing. Like I'm now when I get back, and my wife is gonna ask me, oh, how did everything go? And I'm like, like it was an awesome time. Like it'd be something that if you were ever to invite me again, years down the line or months down the line, hey, I'm all for it. So
Oh, I am.
I'll
I am.
awesome,
But then
awesome.
too, you only want to be on here for a few minutes. Look how long it's been.
Well, that's the problem. I start with a little bit of minutes, but then like I'm telling you, if you continue, we'll be here all night. So I'm glad that that everything like just flowed and went, and even the audience that's been watching, man, I appreciate each and every one of you guys that's out there and has been watching all the the stuff nonsense I've been saying, because I mean some of it's been good and some of it's been just off the cuff, but for the most part, I thank the audience that actually are fans that keeps us going, and it just it's like that boosted shot that sometimes we need, to get us to that next quarter mile. So
Well, what was
appreciate it.
supposed to be said was said, and what was supposed to be heard was heard, and everything that
Amen.
was not heard the full episode will be on YouTube, so you'll be even able to go back and watch it.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
thank you so much for taking
No,
time out
thank
of your
you.
schedule to sit down and talk to us. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
let's talk about
Well,
it before we go. We're doing, what is it, North versus South, February 22nd. Go ahead.
yeah, North versus South, February 22nd. It's a no prep race. We're trying to get at least 8 donks to like start a donk racing class. Basically, if you have a 26-inch rim, it's a run with your brung. So there's nothing, there's no rule set. It's just have a 26-inch and be on a hard tire, 26-inch hard tire. So other than that, and it's got to be a donk. We're not set up for like G bodies or anything like that. It was just we wanted a donk race. We needed 8 donks. We have 2 right now. With me, we have 3. So we need 5 more, to be able to have that class. If it doesn't happen from here to the next couple of weeks, then obviously, that donk class is going to be scratched out. But we're still going to have small tire racing at Immokalee Regional Raceway. It's the last time that track will be open. So if you guys are in Florida and want to check it out, it's Immokalee Regional Raceway down at Immokalee, Florida, February 22nd, North versus South. We're starting kickoff at 3 p.m.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and let you get back to it because I know you got some more stuff you want to probably do to the dump before the race. So I'll let you get
Little
back
by
to
little.
it.
Yeah. Well, you have a blessed night, and
All right.
thank you for having us. All
All
right.
right. Thank you so much.
Yep.
So, guys, if y'all missed any of tonight's episode of Rise and Vibes, please check out the full replay on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys next Tuesday night for another episode of Rise and Vibes. I think next Tuesday night I may be doing the Rise and Vibe episode from Barrett Jackson because I'll be at Barrett Jackson next week. So, guys, stay tuned and lay around for all the footage from Barrett Jackson. I'll be there for 4 or 5 days. So if you guys have never been to Barrett Jackson and you are interested in seeing what's going on, please make sure that you tune in, and make sure that if you are not following me, you go ahead and follow me and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you guys for tuning in.